Good evening, everyone. Am I audible to you guys? Okay, thank you. As far as reading the rules of the competition, the total duration of the session is 1 hour, wherein 50 minutes. Yes. Sorry for the issue. The total duration of the session is 1 hour, wherein 50 minutes will be allotted for mediating and 10 minutes for the judges to give out their remarks. The mediation session, 50 minutes, also includes a maximum of 66 minutes, which will be allotted for the joint mediators' opening statements. A maximum of 4 minutes each will be allotted for the negotiating teams for opening statements. And finally, there will be 1 caucus per team, maximum of 5 minutes for each team which can be requested either by the mediator or by a party. So I hope we can start the session. Okay, so now we will start the sessions.
Are we perhaps missing
Hello?
Are we perhaps missing the client and counsel from one of the teams?
Yeah, she's joining in over.
Right, okay.
Yeah, she's here.
Professor, for my information, this is something that is new to me. The team members are split, is it? One of them will be a negotiator, the other would be the client. Is that the way it normally is done?
Yeah, so essentially here we have 2 teams, and in each team we have a mediator, and they will the 2 mediators will co-mediate this hour session. And on each side you have a negotiating team, which is made up of a client and an attorney, client and a lawyer for each side, and they will negotiate together and support each other in that. With one being the lawyer and the other being the client. And as you'll have seen, they've got a set of general instructions, and then each side has a confidential brief which tells them about their bargaining position, their weaknesses, their agenda, that kind of thing. Okay.
So the team is 3 each, is it?
Yeah, there's 3 in each team. So, and when you're doing the marking, the sheet that you've been sent through, it will ask you to judge both the mediators according to various skills, and also the negotiating team together. They're marked as a 2 together, the negotiating team.
So the client and the counsel is marked together?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, all right. So they have to work in tandem with each other, and we judge them as one unit? Yes,
yeah, that's right.
Okay. It's fascinating because as a counsel or as a senior counsel I was completely into litigation. As a judge for the last 5 years, I have possibly referred a large number of clients to mediation, but I've never seen a mediation per se in action. This is by far the first time I'm going to see that. So yeah, it's fascinating.
And this is the final, so we're expecting very good quality here today. Yeah. No pressure, everybody.
I know.
So I hope we make it worth your time, Justice.
Everything is worth my time. It's a learning experience.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you on the bench, my experience, mediation has really given us great results, particularly on the civil side, particularly. Very many very complicated civil suits have been settled very easily through mediation. It makes it very easy for us. So we have a selfish interest involved. The statistics comes to us, but the work is done by somebody else, you know.
Okay. So if the judges could just give us a heads up as to when we can begin.
and through.
Okay. What about
Fine
you,
with
sir?
me?
Fine
Yep.
with
Yes.
you? Okay. Are all the participants on board to begin?
Yes.
All right.
Yes,
Great.
Ms. Mediator.
Okay, so good evening to one and all present here. My name is Ms. Nidhi Thakur, and please feel free to call me Nidhi. I would like to thank all of you for choosing me as the mediator for the day. Firstly, also my preferred pronouns are she and her, and now I'm sure that my co-mediator for the day would like to introduce himself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aiden Reeser. Please feel free to call me Aiden. I would like to also congratulate you all on choosing mediation today, as it is a very productive process. My preferred pronouns are he, him, and feel free to use them. Back to Nidhi.
Thank you, Aiden. So before we begin, we realize that we're operating online right now. So if anybody has any technical difficulties, then we will be sure to accommodate for that over the course of the session. Rest assured, you will not miss out on any discussion. We will apprise you of anything that you have missed out on. So now, to begin this session, could both parties help us out with your names, the position you represent, your preferred pronoun, and most importantly, whether you have the authority to settle if an agreement is reached. Would Bright Young Things like to go first?
Hi there, my name is James Travers, and I am the legal counsel for Bright Young Things and Jackie today. My preferred pronouns are he, him, and my client has full authority to settle today.
As my counsel stated, my name is Jackie, and you're more than welcome to call me Jackie, of course. I am the managing director of Bright Young Things, and I do, as my counsel said, have full authority to settle today. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Simone, we'd like to hear from you now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Simone White, the Managing Director of Signature Solutions, and I do have the complete authority to make any decision on behalf of Signature Solutions today and also settle if required. My preferred pronouns are she and her.
Hello, everyone. I'm Peter Clark. I'm the in-house and legal counsel for Mr. Simon and Signature Solutions. My preferred pronouns are he and him, and please feel free to address me as Peter.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Also, a quick question to the counsels. Is it all right if we refer to your clients directly?
Yes, Ms. Mediator.
Yes, absolutely. I'm only here to answer the legal questions. Everything can flow through my client.
Thank you so much for that. Now, it is our understanding that both parties, Jackie and Simone, have signed the agreement to mediate, which also includes the confidentiality agreement. Just a nod will be fine. All right. So now, also to give us all a heads up, at the end of the mediation, if both parties are able to arrive at a mutually beneficial solution, you will also be signing a settlement agreement, and that agreement will be binding. Now, I'm sure that most of you have gone through mediation before, but let us give you a quick refresher. I will be expounding a little on the nature of mediation and our role here today as mediators, while my co-mediator Aiden will be laying out the structure and rules for the session. Firstly, I would like to thank both parties for joining in today and agreeing to mediation as a forum. Mediation as a forum is a confidential, voluntary, non-binding, and flexible process. Whatever you discuss here will be kept in confidence and not shared. Me and Aiden may take notes along the session, but I assure you that at the end of this session, the same will be destroyed. Mediation stresses on honesty, informality, open and direct communication, emotional expressiveness, attention to underlying causes of dispute, and above all, avoidance of blame. Our role here as mediators is to be impartial while we assist you both to talk about your concerns and to fully understand the issues involved. However, we will not make any decisions since we're not judges or arbitrators. Whatever comes out of this mediation will be something that you have developed and chosen. If at any point you feel that this session is not working out for you or you wish to leave, you do have the option of doing so. But before taking such a step, I request you, rather urge you to talk to me and Aiden so that we can try to better accommodate you. Our job here today is to facilitate the conversation between you two in order to discover solutions which are acceptable to both of you. Now, Jackie and Simone, the two of you have shared a good relationship in the past, and I do understand that there are certain issues between you two currently. But let me assure you here that as in mediation, we see issues as just solvable problems. And the fact that you both are here today shows us your willingness and drive to come to a mutually beneficial solution. Hence, I would urge you to adopt a pragmatic approach, which will help us not be bogged down in the past or stir up old anger, but rather look towards a bright future. Any questions so far? All right, seeing as there are no questions, I would like now Aiden could talk a little bit about the structure and the rules for today's session. Over to you, Aiden.
Thank you very much, Nidhi, and thank you very much for the comprehensive overview of mediation. I would once again like to congratulate the parties for coming to mediation, and to explain a bit more about the process, we will soon be moving into opening statements where the parties can set their positions and reasons for coming to mediation today. Then from that, Nidhi and I will create an agenda for the discussion today to follow. Hopefully this will flow into an amicable, mutually beneficial agreement for both parties. Please note that this mediation session is overall 15 minutes long, and each side is entitled to a 5-minute caucus with Nidhi and I. The caucus is an opportunity for each side to talk with the mediators outside of the presence of the other party about any concerns or confidential information that you need to share. There is an extra layer of confidentiality in caucus, meaning Nidhi and I cannot disclose to the other side what you said unless you give us express permission to do so. At any point, either party may call a caucus. However, depending on how the mediation is going, Nidhi or I may call a caucus as well. As Nidhi said, if you reach an agreement, her and I will draft the agreement on your behalf. You both will sign it and we'll present it to the court, and it will have the same effect as a court order, meaning that it is binding and enforceable. If you don't reach an agreement, that is also okay. It will then go on to the next phase of the settlement process, and you'll go before a judge who will be the decision maker on your matter. We sincerely hope that mediation is beneficial for both parties and that your goals will be achieved. By both parties being present and agreeing to mediate, you're already setting the tone for a positive and fruitful discussion, as well as moving in the direction of resolving the dispute on your own terms. So congratulations on choosing mediation. Let's go ahead and get started. Are there any preferences as to who would like to present their opening statements first? If not, then perhaps we can go with Jackie and Jackie's counsel, if that works for both parties.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
So again, hello everyone. My name is James Travers, and I am the legal counsel for Jackie and Bright Young Things. We're here today because contractual obligations have not been met by the developer that Jackie brought on. I've told Jackie that we would have a strong case in court. However, Jackie believes in this relationship, and I think that is a very strong thing. I believe that mediation is a great tool to come to a comprehensive and collaborative approach and work together into the future, because I think that the contract that was devised does have good intentions and can work for both parties. So I'm very excited about that. But I won't take up too much of my client's time, as I'm only here to be asked my opinion and deal with the legal matters. So I'll pass it over now to Jackie, and she can talk a little bit about Bright Young Things.
Absolutely. If I can clarify with the mediators, would you like me to set out the points that I'd like on the agenda during my opening statement?
Sure, whatever you feel comfortable with, Jackie.
Okay, great, thank you. So as you all know, my name is Jackie, and I am the managing director of Bright Young Things, as I had stated previously. So the reason we're really here today is because I feel as though Signature Solutions has really let my company down on the promise that was made to help really move my company forward, and the opposite effect has happened because of the negligence put forward by Signature Solutions. I have now become quite known as rather than being known as a business that is flourishing, as I was right before this all has gone down, my business name is now being dragged through the mud in the sense that I am not reliable because my technology is not reliable. And that is exactly why Signature Solutions was brought on, is to make sure that didn't happen. So today, the biggest hope for us is to look at the impact that this has had on my business. And we really do want to work together. I think that it would be great if we could move forward and keep Signature Solutions on board. But I was very much so hurt and angry when I got the claim that they wanted the rest of their money, being the 40 lakhs that were still owed, when there was no training completed as put onto the contract. So just for the mediator's knowledge, the contract stated that 40 would be paid right up front, and after 3 training sessions, the remaining 40 would be paid, and only 1 session has been undergone so far. So going forward, we would also like to talk about a training schedule if Signature Solutions would like to work together going forward. We would like to have set dates so that we aren't let down again with that in respect. We would also like to look at the help with our hardware, as we do not fully accept the fact that our hardware is the issue in this sense, as we are not the professionals and it was not our job to ensure that it would work. That was why Signature Solutions was hired. But that being said, we would also like to use their help going forward to ensure our hardware is upgraded to the standard needed to work forward. Finally, we would like to look at better communication, because that has been a clear issue in this relationship. And with that, we would like to look at expanding our communication to ensure that no matter when it is, if the company is struggling on the basis of the technology provided by Signature Solutions, that they are there and able to help us so that we don't have these issues going forward. And finally, before I quickly conclude, I would also like to work on regaining the trust in the relationship, because given the circumstances, it is definitely a relationship that needs work at the moment. So that would be amazing. And I hope to come to an agreement today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jackie. So just to summarize your points there. So to start off, you felt a bit hurt by what had happened after negotiating and drawing up the contract with the opposite party, correct? And then now coming into this mediation, you would like to discuss the impact that this has had on your business, how you feel that the company's letting you down, how that impact has had on your business.
Yes.
You'd like to discuss the rest of the money that the opposing party is looking for. You would like to talk about a training schedule for the remaining training dates going forward, if the parties do decide to go forward as well.
Yes.
And then you would also like to use their help to ensure the hardware is up to standard. And you would also like to have better communication and expanding communication. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. We will take this into consideration when we are drawing up the agenda, but first we will hear from Simone. Simone, please feel free to go ahead.
Thank you, mediators. So hello, everyone. As I stated, I am Simone. I'm the Managing Director of Signature Solutions. So I would firstly like to thank the mediators for explaining the process of mediation so thoroughly. This is the first time I'm in a mediation, and even though my counsel had briefed me with the process, any remaining concerns in my mind regarding this process are clear now. Jackie, even though our negotiations didn't take place in the manner we expected, I am sure that we will be able to resolve our dispute amicably with the help of the mediators and our counsellors present today. So I would just like to give a brief about the situation we are in so that we are on the same page. Better Young Things is a creative agency which needed a partner to devise, develop, and install a new client management system, CMS. And Prestige, the CMS provided by Signature Solutions, was chosen. This pitch was accepted because we impressed them with our passion for the craft and also a solid reputation as an innovation software company. Further, Jackie and I also struck up a great relationship. A contract was then entered into where they agreed to pay us 80 lakhs in exchange for 3 training sessions, software installation, and resolving any technical issues for a year after such an installation. The first 40 lakhs were paid upfront, but the remaining 40 lakhs had to be paid after 6 months. After installation, when you complained about the software not functioning properly, we conducted an investigation regarding the issues complained about by you And that is when we found out that the issue was with your hardware and not your software. We also advised your new IT manager to look into this matter and get the hardware updated on time. And we tried to resolve your hardware issues with the limited options we had. But your team was not at all supportive, and due to poor communication, as you stated, we could not fix the issue. Further, despite trying to contact your new IT manager several times for the remaining training sessions, we received no response from his side. We did not have these problems with your previous IT manager. We tried our best to make sure that we held up our end of the contract. I was very surprised and honestly disheartened when, even after doing our best, Better Young Things not only refused to pay us our remaining fees, but also counterclaimed money from us. You know that I have been trying to get in touch with you and your company for quite some time now, and we have a personal relationship as well. In my years of running this company, we have never defaulted on our terms and always provided the best service possible, and we did the same thing in this case as well. This was one of the reasons you provided us with the contract. Jackie, I hope that we can amicably find a middle ground to make sure that we both do not suffer in this arrangement. And I do have a few proposals for you to consider for the same. With this, I would like to ask my counsel to take over.
Sure. Thank you, Simon. So first of all, I would like to say good morning or good evening to everyone, depending on their time zone. First of all, I'd also like to commend the mediators for explaining the mediation process so smoothly. I have been to many mediation, but this is the first time where I heard the process so smoothly. Before we begin, pleasure meeting Mr. James and Ms. Jackie. I'd like to draw your attention to the fact that I'm here purely in an advisory capacity, and Simon has all the decision-making authority. Plus, I'm here to protect the interest of my client, Signature Solution, and Ms. Simon. So in the light of the facts which we have discussed, and both me and my client believe that mediation would be the perfect solution. Also the fact that how our negotiations didn't turn out that well. We hope that we can resolve our dispute through mediation with the help of mediators, and we can end on an amicable note. Furthermore, as I've understood, my client stated that we are here to discuss the technical hiccups, the payment issues, and lastly, the communication issues which we faced. Before we begin, I would like to make a small clarification in the contract. The contract which we entered 6 months back was purely limited to the software issues. My client's liability is only concerned to the technical issues faced by Bright Young in the software department. We aren't concerned. Hardware doesn't concern us, but we would love to address it, as Ms. Jackie pointed out. Also, the reason why we are here is to discuss about fixing of the problem, and we will discuss communication hardware issues. Second would be the payment of dues. And furthermore, my client has few proposals in her mind, which we will mention in the session itself. So I really hope that we are able to reach an amicable solution, and I would like mediators to step in. With this, I would end my opening statement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter. So just to go over that quickly, Simone, it was very encouraging to hear you discuss your personal relationship with Jackie. As you know, that's what mediation is about, preserving these relationships and perpetuating them forward. So that is very encouraging to hear. And so just from your point of view, you said that because of your software, your CMS client management systems, Bright Young Things wanted you and wanted your company to work for them. And so you put in the software, and then you have been trying to get into contact with Bright Young Things as well, but there hasn't been a lot of response on the other end. And so that's where it fell apart with the training sessions. And if I heard you correctly, that was after a new IT manager came in. Okay. And so you also were saying that is not the issue with the hardware is not within your ambit right now. You are merely with the software as of now, and that you have 3 proposals going forward to the other side. So maybe if we are able to hear a bit more about that, we can draw up the agenda right now, and then we can maybe find where to start off with in the discussions. Maybe we can go back to Jackie on that, just to see where she would like to start after you put forward just 3 of your proposals quickly, if that sounds good to every party.
Yes, absolutely. I would love to put forth my proposals just in brief. So I would, as Jackie has mentioned, I would also like to talk about the training schedule. about improving the communication with between our companies. And is there anything else that Jackie would like to discuss? If I can just talk about it.
I believe that I've said everything in my opening statement as of right now that has come up.
All right, then I think we can move ahead with all the problems that Jackie had, and we can address all of them since I too am on the same page.
Just to chip in here.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yes. Sorry, Ms. Mediator, but just to chip in here, if one of the mediators can mention the agenda in the chat box so that it's become easier for us to know where the session is going on.
Sure.
Yes, for sure. I will do that now. I just wanted, I just wanted to hear from what the parties had to say right beforehand. So I will put that in now, and we will start with the business impacts. And then
Eden,
after
I just
that,
had a little suggestion here. So I understand that both of you wish to talk about the training schedule and the communication issue. However, I did understand I did spot a common ground between what Jackie mentioned and Simon. That is the relationship that they two had, and they both wish to work at the same. So I believe if we could have our first agenda as working at the relationship between you two, so that you could clarify the misunderstanding or the communication gap that has led to this dispute, and then I think you will be in a better position to talk about the training schedule and how to ensure that this communication gap does not occur in the future. Does that seem like something you'd like to discuss?
Madam Mediator, I would also actually like to add on one more point about the payment of the dues and fixing the hardware problem. Maybe you could club it as one point, as we do have some proposals regarding that same.
Okay, Jackie, what about you?
I do find them to be separate issues, but I'm happy to talk about them together if that is going to be beneficial to the solution.
Okay, so I see 4 issues here: the relationship, the training schedule, the communication gap, and the payment of dues. Which one would you all like to discuss first?
If I may, could we start with the relationship and then move on to the payment of dues and fixing the problem? Because I think that will also help us think about the training schedule in a better way. And and maybe the communication can be discussed with the relationship itself.
Okay.
Since the relationship falling apart, one of the major reasons for the relationship falling apart was the faulty communication.
Okay. Jackie, what about you?
Yes, absolutely. I agree. I think as well, in building our relationship again, just a counterpoint that should be added would be exactly what the expectations that I'm expecting are and what you would expect as well. And that would be good from there.
Okay, so Eden, could you just help me put this in the chat box? The first thing we're going to talk about is the relation, in which we'll also talk about the communication gap and how to avoid that in the future. Secondly, we'll be talking about the payment dues and the training schedule. Does that work for all of us? Jackie?
Yes, Ms. Mediator.
Okay. All right.
I believe there is also talk about hardware as well. Would that be a third point?
Payment of dues and hardware. Yeah, payment of dues and hardware. Yeah, they're together. Okay, so please go ahead and get into the conversation. Keep an open mind.
May I start, Ms. Mediator? I was just wondering, because I know with it being my client's first mediation and the little bit of unease, I think it would be helpful if we did an initial caucus, just so that Jackie can talk freely about all of the issues before we get into the main agenda.
Okay, James, what I understand is you wish to have a private caucus as of now, before we get into the conversation. Sure. Aiden, what do you think about this?
That sounds good to me.
All right. Okay.
Maybe then we can start with team 2110.
All right, since they brought it up, that makes sense. So I would request the OC to put team 2119 in the breakout room, please. Thank you, Aiden, for putting it in the chat. I believe the client and counsel are in the breakout room. Could the OC confirm? Okay.
From
right.
what I think they are.
Yeah, all right. Thank you so much. Firstly, I'd just like to mention here that in this private session, there is an added level of confidentiality. Anything and everything that you share with me and Aiden today in this private caucus will stay with us, and we will only break this confidentiality if you allow us to do so, or if you wish to, share certain information that we've discussed here with the other side. And so be rest assured, this is a team effort, all four of us here together. I hope you feel comfortable enough to share your concerns that you've had through the session, or you're going to have, or you're thinking of having, or any concern that you have for the rest of the session. And so I believe James called for this caucus, so I'm sure he has something to say. Aiden, so should we hear from him?
Yes, please go ahead, James.
Thank you. I wanted to firstly bring up that we do have a counterclaim of 40 lakhs, which was the initial payment, because we did make a 40 lakh payment at the beginning with full confidence. Now I have spoken to my client, and we are willing to drop this if all of the other discussions go according to how we hope that they go, in a collaborative fashion, and we can get everything upgraded and worked on and training sessions complete. So that is the major legal issue that I wanted to bring up in private. So hopefully you can help steer the conversation, because we don't necessarily want the other side to immediately know that, because that's some leverage that I think Jackie has on the conversation. But I want the conversation to sort of be steered in a way that it is a collaborative approach, and then we can work on that together. But more than anything, I just wanted to bring up the number of conversations that Jackie and I have had, and how devastating this has been on not only the business, but Jackie personally, because she went from award winner, managing director of a brand new company, only 3 years old, and now her name is being dragged through the mud in lesser terms. So I did want to give Jackie just an open forum to say everything that she wants to say here before we get into too much discussion.
I agree with you, James.
So Jackie, if you can go ahead, and then please feel free to let us know about that.
Absolutely. I think that I am a little bit nervous coming into this conversation, because I think that it was extremely inappropriate for them to be asking for money for a service they didn't provide. And so my trust in them and my confidence in them has absolutely plummeted. And so I had asked my counsel if we would be able to talk privately with the mediators going forward, because I am very much so open to trying to fix this relationship, but I do struggle to have that trust right off the bat, because as I say, we literally just found out that they were trying to so they were trying to get their money back for this. So if you are able to help with support on that, that would be my biggest hope, please.
Thank you. And I just want to ask, is everything here said confidential, or is there anything we can disclose to the other side?
You're welcome to disclose everything, but we would prefer that the fact we are willing to drop our counterclaim stay under wraps until either myself or my counsel brings that to the other side's attention, if possible.
Oh, all right. And
Okay,
I just
thank
have
you
one
very
quick
much.
question to you. Sorry, Aiden, I know the time's up. Just one quick question to you, Jackie. I completely understand how you feel right now. And I just was hoping to understand what is it that they can do here to help build that trust, so that we can discuss that also with them.
Well, I did want to say that I didn't have I have no proof or I have no proof that they did try to reach out to my manager.
Okay.
So knowing that my old manager that was able to deal with the company really well is coming back, I think that the fact that we're comfortable working in that environment will be helpful. And
Sure.
I feel like once we bring that up to them, they will have the confidence in us to possibly
Sure.
open up and allow us to have more confidence in them.
I agree. Can I mention this part to them, that the old manager is coming back? Or would you like to mention it? Oh, I can? All right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Jackie. Now I would request the OC to kindly bring team 2119 into the room. Could you kindly put 2110 in the breakout room? And also, while we're doing adjusting for the transfer, could you just like pause the time?
While everyone is in this group, I'll just take a quick second to say some of the principles of this caucus. Please do not say anything confidential as the other parties are in the room at this time. But as you know, this caucus will be 5 minutes long. It is an extra added layer of security. And please feel free to be open and frank with my co-mediator and I in respect of that. The other parties are out of the room now, so you can say anything confidential. And I hope that that will allow you to be open with us. So, and we will not say anything to the other side unless you give us express permission to say so. So thank you very much. And I will pass it over to my co-mediator now.
All right. Aiden, would you like to quickly summarize in 2 lines about what the other side has mentioned with regards to what they'd like them to know before we have a session with these guys?
So the other side had mentioned how they were upset that with the relationship and how things had gone so far, and that they were feeling a bit like their trust had been hurt. And they also let us know that the managing director, the previous one that you had been working with, will be coming back. So that may make things, communications open up a bit more from your side, hopefully. That is what they were hoping that you would see from that as well. And then I believe, unless there's anything else to add, Nadia, I will pass it over to you.
All right. I do not believe there was anything else to add. What I'd like to ask you is that I understand that only one training session was conducted. Now, is there any particular reason for the same?
Yes, Madam Mediator. So, as I mentioned in my opening statement as well, we have been trying to get in touch with Better Young Things multiple times. Through the last 6 months, we have mailed them, we have tried to call them, we have tried to communicate with them in every possible way. But the first training session happened very smoothly because they had their old IT manager. But after the new IT manager came into place, he did not respond to our calls. He does not acknowledge our messages. He does not initiate anything from himself.
Correct.
We have tried everything possible to arrange for the remaining 2 sessions to take place so that even we can keep up our end of the bargain. But I think that there is some communication gap between Better Young Things as well, since even Jackie was not aware of this.
Correct. Okay, so now that the old manager is coming back, will you be able to conduct the training sessions that are remaining?
Yes, definitely. We have had conversations with the old IT manager, and it is very easy to schedule a training session with him.
All right. So I'm sure you'd like to discuss the details of the training schedule in the joint session. Now, with regards to the payment of dues and the hardware issue that you'd like to discuss with them, if I have to understand exactly what was your concern regarding the hardware before? I mean, are you willing to help with the hardware right now?
Yes, definitely. We have also actually mentioned this to the new IT manager that we are willing to help with the hardware, but there's a huge communication gap, as I've already mentioned. So we are willing. So we, as a company, also provide for hardware services, and we will love to offer it to them of course, at a price. We would love to sell it to them because their old hardware is outdated. To have the new software work and to have it in place, we need to have a compatible hardware along with it, because if that is not in place, then the software will definitely not work, just as the same problem they're suffering right now.
All right. So I think, I don't have really any more questions. I believe, it is necessary for them to now go into the joint session and have a conversation with Jackie. What do you think, Aiden? Would you have any questions for these guys?
No, I believe that is everything, unless the parties have anything to add. And unless, I just want to also check confidentiality again afterwards, but I'll let the parties add anything if they have it first.
Do you have anything to add, Peter?
No, Simon, I don't have anything to add. I'd just like to clarify the fact that the contract between them was purely for software, but as Simon clearly stated, she wants to take the relationship which she had with Jackie a step further and also offer hardware services. So yeah, that's all.
Yes. All right. So now I'd request the OC to bring the, I believe they're here. Okay. All All right. So after having a conversation with both sides, we believe that there is a lot to talk about. I think that we have mentioned to them that the old IT guy is coming back, and I'm sure that they'd like to talk more about the training schedule now and the communication gap. So Simon, could you mention what you were mentioning to me in the caucus?
Definitely. So, Jackie, as you know, that with your new IT manager, we have tried to make a lot of, we have tried to set up a lot of sessions, and we have tried to communicate with him in every way possible. But he was not responsive, and we were not getting any communication of any sort from him. Therefore, this was the reason for all the gaps and for all the missed training sessions which we should have conducted in the past 6 months. But now that I heard that your old IT manager is coming back, we are very glad to hear that, and I'm very sure that the rest in the next month perhaps we can settle all the remaining dues and also provide you with all the training sessions and any help you need from our side.
Absolutely. So I just wanted to clarify as well that there are more issues than just the training sessions that have absolutely nothing to do with my IT manager, be it, for example, the fact that the software doesn't work with my hardware, as one example. But going off of that point as well, I would like to definitely look at moving forward. Petra, my old manager, is coming back, as you know. I don't have any proof from my current manager that you did reach out, which that is where a lot of my frustration was fostered, because in my eyes, there was radio silence. I didn't have anything from you. So with that, knowing that knowledge, that definitely adds a layer of trust to our relationship, as I didn't feel that you were living up to your end, and you clearly have. So we also have an idea of a timeline, though we were thinking of a longer timeline of 4 months for all of these improvements to be made throughout. So basically all in tandem at the same time throughout the 4-month period, going forward in that way.
So, Jackie, I hear you, and I'm glad to know that you have a little more trust in us now that I have cleared this situation. So as you know that the reason that the software was not working in your system is because you had an incompatible hardware. The hardware that most generally all the new systems have at this point is much more updated. Your hardware is a little more outdated, and that was the reason that the software was not compatible with it. We as a company also offer hardware services, and we would love to help you fix this problem. Without a compatible hardware, the software will definitely not function in any of these coming years. So we do sell our hardware systems, the updated hardware systems, for 25 lakhs. And as you know, that the remaining payments till now are of 40 lakhs, which were the second tranche. So firstly, I would like to ask you if you would be willing to talk about any of the remaining payments, and if we could maybe perhaps come in some sort of an arrangement to make the remaining payments and perhaps even buy the new hardware.
Absolutely. I definitely want to look at updating the hardware, but I would like to give you just an insight as to my thoughts and my frustrations on the idea of the hardware. When we first met up, I was fully transparent. You had access to my company's details. You had access to anything that you needed in order to do your job efficiently. And that being said, I am not the professional that's supposed to know what hardware is compatible with your software. That was something that was entrusted to you. That was something that was not something that I would have ever expected to look into. When hiring a professional to do a job, in my eyes, that logically means that professional is offering to do a job that would work with my company. So with the ideology of the hardware, I definitely would like to look into purchasing the hardware. And I would like to look into as well paying back that 40, especially if we are able to deal with the training schedule. So that being said, I would like to ask if you would be willing to consider 20 overall rather than 25. And going forward with the 4-month plan, that in tandem with the repayment, you would receive 15 rupees from us each month, I believe they're called lakhs, 15 lakhs from us per month. that would add up to the 40 plus 20 in the 4-month period, and you would be fully repaid at that time. With that being said, we do have an agreement as well of a 1-year warranty on your products. And because we were given these products, even though you had access to know that they would not work, we feel as though that does fall under the warranty. With that being said, we also understand that you're a business and you need to be paid for your services, which is why we are asking for that 5 lakh off, as well as the constant communication to make sure that this is successful.
Right. So what I understand here is that from our first agenda, that was the relationship building. Now we have moved on to our second agenda, that is the training schedule and payment dues. However, we did miss regarding, how to ensure that this communication gap does not happen in the future. So I guess, we can circle back to that. But now, as of now, there is an offer on the table from Jackie, and I'd actually request her counsel to sort of clarify things for me here. I believe she spoke about paying for the hardware that Simon mentioned. And she also mentioned regarding the 1-year warranty. And so I got a little bit confused here. So could you just summarize it for me?
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So sorry, I thought I might be able to put a different spin on it to make it a little bit more easy to understand. So when the software system got installed onto our hardware, they had full access to the hardware to figure out that it was old, that it did have things that may not work with the software. So we, during doing the contract, there was 1 year that Signature Solutions would be contacted and be able to fix all issues. Now, speaking with my client, it does seem like that could have been a result of our IT manager that wasn't in full contact with the managing director. So I think the taking 5 lakhs off and excusing any feelings on either side and moving forward together, I think is what Jackie's proposing. So taking 5 lakhs off the hardware upgrade. And then when we get more towards it, we might be able to put another year warranty on this hardware service. I don't know what the Signature Solution standard is, but I think that's something that we should look at as well. But I think that's what my client was talking about.
Yes.
Right.
And
So just to clarify, the offer on the table right now is 20 overall for the hardware, a 4-month plan and repayment, and you would pay 15 lakhs per month, which would add up to the 40 plus the 20, the 40 from the previous discussions. And then you would also be looking for a 1-year warranty on that.
Yes, we would like the warranty for the software to start over as of when the hardware is put in, and as well as a year warranty on the hardware if possible.
All right.
Perfect. And then I also wanted to check one thing as well. Considering that the new IT manager is coming back, is there a concern with future communications moving forward, or with the IT manager coming back? Do you both feel confident about your communications going forward? We can discuss this more later. I just wanted to check if it at this point is a non-issue.
Yes, we will be more happy with the new old IT manager coming to the company again.
All right. So you do not want to put in any new mechanism, Jackie and Simon, with regards to communication?
If possible, I would like to make sure that it's still on the agenda, even if we touch it briefly.
All right. Okay, sure. I'll let that be. So we've discussed relationship, and now we're on the training. So Simon, I'm sure you've understood the offer on the table regarding 40 plus 20 and extending, starting over the 1-year warranty. Is that something that looks feasible to you at the moment?
Yes, so I would actually like to talk more about this.
Okay.
So as you know, the hardware that you installed, and as your client stated, and as you and your counsel stated, that we should have checked the hardware in the first place and made sure that it was compatible with the software. But I would just like to clarify again, as my counsel had stated in his opening statement, that our job was to install the software. And but moving on, we will now talk about the offer that you proposed. To pay 20 lakhs instead of 25 lakhs for the hardware, and paying 15 lakh per month in totality to recover the 40 for us to recover the 40 lakhs which were due, and plus the 20 lakhs which you just proposed for the new hardware. So I really like this plan, and I am really happy with this offer that you have proposed. But if I was just asking if we could get a bigger payment perhaps upfront, since our payments have been pending and we do need the 40 lakhs which were initially given by you. Initially as our contract stated, which should have been given by you at this moment.
Absolutely. So I would be comfortable to pay you the remainder as soon as the training is complete. So I did know that you stated earlier that you felt as though the training could be completed within a month. So for example, if you are able to complete the training within a month, then at the end of the first month, I would be willing to give the entirety of the 40 lakhs and then continue with the 5 lakh payments going forward for the hardware.
All right, Jackie, I would just like to state one more thing here. So we would actually start the training for the new software after we have installed the old hardware, considering that you do take it from us. Since your systems are not compatible with it right now, it would make no sense to train your employees with the old hardware and the new software when we are just installing the new hardware. So we would definitely set up training sessions for your employees as soon as the hardware is set up. Further, we would also be willing to give you more training sessions. In addition to the 2 remaining, we would be willing to give you more training sessions so that your employees are completely familiarized with the hardware as well as the software, and they are more open going forward, and they know what is happening with their systems going forward. Since this time, the hardware issue could not be tracked by any of your IT managers or any of your IT team. We will make sure that next time this situation does not arise. And in future, considering that we do take our relationship ahead, we can solve these disputes in a better manner.
I wanted to ask about the training sessions. You mentioned that you would be willing to do more. Are you saying that for the payment, the 40 lakhs, that you would be willing to add some on without additional payment, or for additional payment that can be worked out later, you would be willing to add on more training?
Conduct additional training session without any payment, since there was some fault, and we would like to, have the trust and want Jackie to trust us again, and we are willing to conduct this training session free of cost.
Yes.
Also,
James
and I can enter into, sorry to cut you off. Also, James and I can enter into a new contract regarding the buying of hardware services from us. If that's okay with James, and we can have a next meeting somewhere on the next weekend, if that's feasible with you.
Yeah, absolutely. If all of my clients' questions are worked out, I'd be happy to start drafting a contract with you as soon as possible.
Definitely, James.
I did just want to circle back, if possible, to the upfront payment, because I truthfully, given the nature of our first contract, I do feel it's only fair that once the 2 remaining sessions are complete, that is when the 40 lakhs are paid upfront. Now, that being said, I also completely understand that the hardware is needed to be paid for, and that I definitely see that it is more logical to have the hardware when the training happens. So with that being said, do you have a number in mind that you are looking for upfront with relation to how much we are paying for hardware and software alike, that would allow you to be able to continue with your business doing what you need to, but also allows us to still fulfill the first contract and having the training done before the payment is finished?
Sure. So what we can do here, you can pay upfront 10 lakhs if that's feasible, and then after the installation is complete, you can pay the remainder, that is another 10 lakhs. If that's something which is feasible with you, Jackie, and what's your take on it, Simon?
I think I might have heard it wrong, because as far as I understood, you were asking about the total payment, that is the total 60 lakhs payment, and how much I expect upfront from it.
What I was asking was that I would pay, for example, 15 a month. And I said that as soon as the training is complete, I'd be willing to give you the full 40. Now, that being said, if the training can't be completed until the hardware is installed, which is reasonable. I was just asking if there is a specific number that you would need up front to be able to do your job as well.
So to install the hardware, you would also need an amount beforehand. So if we could get perhaps 20 to 25 lakhs beforehand, before we install the hardware, and the remaining, which is 35 lakhs, can be distributed after each training session.
If mediators could summarize the transaction.
Yes. All right. So I believe that there has been, so from what I understand right now, Simon, your offer is that you would need 20 to 25 lakh upfront payment, correct? Am I correct? Okay, perfect. So Jackie, she's looking for a 20 to 25 lakh upfront payment and before installing the hardware. And after installing the hardware, she's okay with the monthly payments that you mentioned. Jackie, does this seem something that is possible for you?
So just to clarify, we would be paying 20 lakhs up front and
Yes.
40 over once the training is complete, or would that be over months consecutively?
So Simon, what she's trying to ask you is that the 40 lakh, after giving you the 20, 40 is left, right? So the 40 that you're expecting, do you want it monthly after the installment of hardware, or do you want it monthly after the training session is over? Because I believe after installing the hardware, okay, so could you clarify how much time it's going to take to train after the hardware is installed from your end?
Yes, so absolutely. I think that is a bit of a problem here. So training sessions in totality should not take more than 2 months, perhaps. We can finish explaining the software as well as the hardware within 2 months, so that all your employees are equipped with it, and there's not much of a lag from your side as well, since this should have been done technically within the last 6 months. So we will be willing to finish it within the next 2 months, and perhaps the remaining 40 you can give 20 after the first session, and the 20 after the first month, and the remaining 20 after the second month.
All right. So now I'll just summarize that upfront payment will be. Sorry, Jackie, did I cut you in the middle?
That's okay. I was just going to say that paying 20 up front, 20 at the end of the first month, and 20 at the end of the second month would be something that I would be comfortable with.
All right. So here, Simon, you are promising or assuring them that your hardware will be installed in a month, correct?
Yes, it would be installed in less than a month.
All right. The hardware will be installed in less than a month. The training session will be done within 2 months. All right. And Jackie, would you like some sort of written assurance from their end?
I was going to ask about that, actually. I was going to see what kind of trial period, because as we've never seen the hardware, I'm wondering if there is any sort of like a trial that maybe could be worked out, or if there's a warranty that you'd be willing to put on it. I think that would make Jackie feel more comfortable.
Yes, absolutely. I would love to address that question. So with any hardware or software we provide them with a 1-year warranty. And also any services that might come across, any services that you might need for that 1 year will be free of cost from our side. So if in the same manner for the hardware, we will provide you with a 1-year warranty. And also if there is any problem, we will be serving you free of cost for the 1 year.
Right. So I just like to clarify here, there are 2 warranties that we're talking about. One warranty is the 1-year warranty on the software and 1-year warranty on the hardware. So Jackie, would you like, so you had earlier mentioned that you would like to start over the 1-year warranty. Did you mean that you'd like to start over the 1-year warranty of the software?
Yes, so I would like to have a 1-year warranty going forward from the date of installation on both the hardware and software.
All right. So Simon, is that clear to you now that she would be she's requesting you for a 1-year extension on the software and the 1-year extension on hardware? Have you agreed on that? I'm actually so glad. I think so. I just like to summarize here because I believe that we're at the 11th hour, and people might have like other prior engagements, and in order to take maximum from this session, yes.
If possible, I think that we are pretty clear on the summary. Is it possible for us to quickly touch on the communication and effects of the business before the end of the session? Because that is something that's quite important to, I believe, myself and the other side as well.
I understand what you're saying, but certainly, I mean, Jackie, you should understand that if we do not highlight certain aspects of this session, then I mean, the whole agreement that we've had so far on the agenda points, there may be some amount of, a distinction about what they are, on what page they are and on what page you are. So I believe it is necessary for me to summarize, but I'll try to do it extremely quick and I'll try to be precise.
I could jump in here.
All right.
I could jump in
Yes,
here and quickly summarize
Please go ahead. Please go ahead. Let's keep it short.
So there would be a 20 lakh payment before the hardware is installed, a 20 lakh payment after the first month of training, and a 20 lakh payment after the second month of training, and then also a 1-year warranty on the software and hardware once it is installed. Is that understood by all parties as what has been agreed upon?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, maybe then we can move on into the communications, unless I missed anything, if one of the parties would like to say.
What I would like to just say quickly, because I know we are wrapping up on time, if you are willing, Signature Solutions, if you are willing to go into another mediation session coming forward, I think that would be definitely beneficial. But going away from this conversation, I would like us to both think about the possibility of how this has affected my business and how we together can work on our partnership, both in a public way and in a personal way. So possibly joint PR, possibly basically like a guarantee to my clients that this was a one-off mistake and that my business is reliable and so are you. So going forward, I would love to do that and also ensure that there is clear communication. And if we are able to have another session on that, I would be more than happy to do so.
Sure. I'm sure, Jackie, that the councils can get on a call and ensure that another session is there. What I'm happy to say is that we have covered almost everything on the agenda, albeit the communication. And I'm really glad because this was an extremely fruitful business dispute. And I mean, this is what I do. This is what I work so hard for. Thank you so much for making this mediation successful to both parties. Now, I believe the judges were already.
I would like to say, as you said at the start, you guys began with a close personal relationship. And I could see that as a mediator coming through in these discussions. It is clear that you both are respectful towards each other and are both willing to work together into the future. I am very pleased with the agreements that have been made today, as it seems to be an amicable solution for both parties. I'm happy to say that I believe that this mediation was successful, and I'm looking forward to another session in the future. Thank you both for coming to, thank you everyone for coming to mediation today. And now, without further ado, unless anyone has anything to say, I will pass it over to the judges.
So now we will have, the judges will have 10 minutes to give up their remarks.
I believe the OC member mentioned that now the judges have 10 minutes to give the opening their remarks.
Yes.
Is it possible just to take a 30-second break? I'm currently at work and my other employee just called me. It will be literally 2 seconds. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you.
So Clark, why don't you just tell us? We'll just start with you. You are the patron, so I would like to hear you.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm quite happy to say a few things. First of all, you're back now. That's great. Yeah, I'll just say a few words. I'll keep it quite brief because there are 3 of us here. Well, just to say, everyone, thank you so much. It was a real pleasure, a real privilege to be part of the session today. I really enjoyed it. That was one of the scenarios that I'd written. I did the semi-final one as well, and it's quite interesting to see how people play the roles and what they take from it, what they emphasize. And I thought, by and large, you did, incredibly well as a group here today. It's very demanding. I think having a time limit like that, a very hard time limit, makes it very tough because you're trying to get everything in at the end, and everyone wants to get their piece in, and it's very difficult actually. And of course, in real life, you're not going to have that kind of time limit. There will be limits, but not to that degree where you need to finish right on the clock. But yeah, I thought it was really well done. I thought the mediators worked really quite well together. Now, you were quite different in your style, and that's not a bad thing. It's just, this is mediation practice is very, it's not homogenous. It's very different, and people have different styles and different preferences. And you were very different, actually. but I think it worked well together. And I quite liked the fact that you passed back and forth to each other, and asking the other to fill in if you've got any further questions, and that's good practice. I would say that occasionally, I think both of you interrupted each other once, which and this will happen, and you haven't met, and you've only got a limited time to get your input in, so that's something to think about. I think that 2119 you interrupted quite early on at one point, and I think just at the very end 2110 wanted to give the summary at the end when we're running out of time and we had to get the summary in. I would say 2119 Mediator that you were very engaging, you're leaning forward, you've got a very open expression, you're nodding and smiling. And I think that 2110, I thought you delivered your input very clearly, and you've got a very calm and relaxed demeanor. I think in between when you're speaking, you could probably be a bit more engaged, would be my advice. A little bit more giving something back to the parties, maybe nodding a bit more, smiling. It's difficult online because we've got different visuals for different people. You're sitting quite far back sometimes as well. And I think occasionally you could perhaps encourage a bit more by just coming forward. And, these are very small things, and it's, these are all points of preference as well. And it's different in different contexts. And I thought that you both did very, very well today. In terms of the parties, I thought that the parties worked really well. And I think, as it probably should be, the clients did most of the talking. I think that's probably right in these kind of disputes, because there was a significant personal element here. And I quite like the fact that you talked about that relationship that you had together. You'd worked together well in the past. I think Jackie in particular talked about how hurt that she felt and how that trust had been lost. But there was a good engagement, and some issues which were not known between the parties regarding the new IT manager, the lack of communication, that came out, and that helped the other party to understand why things were as they were. And sometimes we make assumptions about the behavior of the other party, which are just not true, or we don't understand fully why they're behaving the way they did. And I think you both did very well and worked well together as parents. And there was some really good, I think, creative aspects coming forward, talking about improving communications in the future. What are we going to do about the hardware? It was quite interesting for me that 2110 team called the caucus immediately, before the agenda was being crafted, essentially. And that probably surprised the mediators a bit, but they handled it very well. And yeah, I think it worked. It worked well, and it got a few things out in the open. I would say that in terms of the offer that was made, if I've got one criticism of 2110, I think that you made that offer, probably you gave too much too soon, I think. I think it was quite a generous offer on my reading of it. And that 2119 were probably delighted to get that offer then. And the counterclaim kind of disappeared. And it wasn't really discussed again. I know you discussed it in caucus. So that would be my only issue on that. But otherwise, I thought that you were really good. And I thought the teams worked very well together. Yeah, and I'll stop talking now because I'm going to go over my time limit as well. And there are other esteemed judges for you to hear from today. So thank you very much. That was great. Thank you.
So Inbavijayan, we would like to hear you now. I would reserve the final, not because I want to make the last one. It's because I'm the only person here who has seen this before. This is all new to me. So I would just like to hear you first.
Thank you, Honorable Judge. It was really, what you can say, it's whether it's a gold or a good rush to mediation. That's what I found from all the participants. From the beginning, as rightly Professor Clark was mentioning, the initial instructions of the client's task to go to caucus. This is a wonderful, wonderful thing wherein it is happy for an ADR practitioner to accept such young minds going into the mediation advocacy. Hats off, first of all, to all of you, because it's very rare people from law schools getting into mediations or arbitrations or even negotiations. And the way how whether the mediators or the clients and to some extent the counsels were highlighting about the concept of Bhatna and Bhatna in a very, very modern way of communication. It was really a wonderful thing to hear from all of you. It is your, I think from all the seniors here, whether the judge or the professor and me and the practitioner, it is going to be a bright future for all of you in the area of ADR. Coming to the points, I was expecting a football rebel from all of you, but the way the teams, whether it is team code 10 or team code 19, from the client's perspective, it was really wonderful. I think the clients have taken the role of counsels, and the counsels had a very, very limited opportunity. Anyway, it is good. As rightly Professor Clark was mentioning, in a mediation, the role of the client has to be proactive than the counsel. That I could see it's a reality from all of you. It is good that counsel restrained from many legal arguments here. And the factual things were wonderfully discussed by the clients. Hats off to both the clients 19 and 10. It is wonderful. And anyway, when you're turning into a litigating lawyer, try to maintain this. A final say when it comes to the critic, what I wanted to mention here is that the aspect of warranty, which was assured, I think it is quite a impossible thing. What an assurance has been given after compromising the cost, and the aspect of defect liability period. It is quite a long period. It has to be, in my personal note, a 1 month warranty, so that there should not be what you can say, a compromise from team 19. Good. Otherwise, it is a wonderful session. What for me as an arbitration practitioner, to see that it was a combination of too much of evaluative, collaborative, the mediation concept, which has been brought in by all of you. And the best wishes and congratulations, students, for your bright future, both as practitioners as well as in ADR field.
Thank you. This mediation in Bright Young Things and signature solutions has given me an insight to bright young minds. Now, I always say when we talk about mode courts, I had participated in my times in the 1980s, mid-1980s, when I was in the law school. I had possibly participated in the maximum mode courts possible at those point of time, the international, national, and all. And when I speak to students these days, I always tell them a mode court is actually a court in ideal conditions. And I saw that the mediation today was done in ideal conditions. You are not answerable to a real client. Otherwise, I think today it would perhaps be in a different ballgame for many of both the counsel today. And luckily for Mr. James, it was Jackie who gave too much too fast. So possibly you are safe. You would not lose your license that easily. Because when Jackie gave away too much, I mean, I was surprised. I completely agree with Professor Clark. Initially, I was watching your body language. Jackie was very belligerent. She was very tight-lipped. She was not giving. I thought that you were being very cynical. I thought to give an impossible figure of maybe $1 million or something. That's 5 lakhs or something as a full deal. I was completely surprised when you said that you are offering 6 million. I was completely surprised. I'll tell you straight away. So when you gave away 6 million instead of 6.5 million, there was hardly anything left for negotiation or discussion. Because if I were signature solutions, I would jump for it. What is that for? Of course, the warranty was only an icing, nothing more than that. So in normal mediations, I would not expect Jackie to have given 65 or 60 lakhs against 65 lakhs. I would have expected her to give 20, 25 lakhs. And this is something, I may be wrong because I told you, I am listening to this for the first time. Your private instructions, I don't think was put too much of a use. Well, hardly any private instructions. Everything came out in the open. Even though you had your caucus in the beginning, nothing came out of it. I was surprised that the factum of the IT manager returning really did not make any difference, because that should have been used by Simone to leverage. But then she didn't have that opportunity. The problem with Simone is that she didn't have to have any leverage because Jackie gave it up. She gave 60 lakhs. So then Simone didn't really have to have anything. I would have expected, suppose you had offered Jackie 20 lakhs, 2 million. Simone would have thought, all right, now you have a new IT manager or the old IT manager coming in. I'm sorry, I stand corrected. The old IT manager coming in. All right, then I will possibly give up my 40 plus 25 and settle for 30, 35. This is how possibly the negotiation in real life would have gone. This is my suggestion. This is my observation. Now, I'll just tell you one thing. I'll just stop with one thing that I always talk about, the ADR. I told you when I started, I began by saying that I've been a litigation lawyer all my life. I hear litigation almost 100% now. And believe me, as judges, I'm sure Mr. Inbavijayan knows this. Indian judges in Indian courts, we do a lot of negotiation and mediation even when we hear matters. We really do. And believe me, if this matter had come to me as a judge in a commercial court, I would have been easily able to negotiate this, because if I had offered Simone 60 lakhs instead of 65 lakhs, she would have fallen for it straight away. But then the best thing about the ADR is that there is a direct client-to-client interaction. So therefore, what happens is there is no bitterness with anything, any solution that you finally enter. But in a court of law, generally, however fair and reasonable that a judge might feel, always every judgment leaves, in more cases than one, a sense of bitterness somewhere which prompts them to go and appeal and come and extra appeals and all that. See, here, ADR gives you a lasting solution because if client feels responsible, this is not a solution, this is not a situation that is thrust upon them by anybody, but by themselves. This is why here, when Simone accepts 60 lakhs, Jackie is happy because she gave 60. Simone is happy because she got much more than what she thought. And the private instructions was that they would come down to a much lower level. And you were even willing to give up your counterclaim. Sadly, I did not see that happening. It was a virtual case where the counterclaim was also acceded to. So to that limited extent, but all of you did very well. It was an enlightening experience for me. Though I know that this is not the way normal negotiations would go on, it would be never so civil. I'm sure there would be a lot of cudgels being taken against each other. So I'm aware, that's why I said this isn't the ideal situation. But you've all done very well. But as Mr. Inbavijayan was saying, I saw more of litigation lawyers than mediation lawyers and mediation clients here. You have all shown sparks of being the finest litigation lawyers. Please come to litigation and take up mediation as Mr. Inbavijayan is doing. He is both a practicing litigation lawyer and a settlement lawyer, and that helps you because it's only when you understand what litigation is, settlement becomes second nature to you. Because every litigation is a give and take. Only thing is, as I said, in settlement and mediation, that bitterness is taken away from the solution. You get a lasting solution. The client becomes completely responsible for it. They can't blame anybody else. Otherwise, every litigation, the clients blame the judges. So it's been a great experience. Thank you very much for, as Nidhi started by saying, this is truly time well spent for me. Thank you very much.
We're glad.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Devan Ramachandran, sir.
And a word for all the participants, all of you did very well. And please keep up the good work. Doesn't matter what the final result today is. It's the joy of participation experience that is more important, because every experience adds on to the brick that you built for your life. It's adding value to yourself. Everything. Every experience, positive or negative, is actually a brick in your process going forward. So you are building your career brick by brick. There are no shortcuts. So please accept everything that the experience that you get, positive or negative, as something that really built on yourself and adds value to yourself. It's the addition of value that is more important. And you have all done that. Today, you have all added much more than what you expect to have been added to yourself. All the very best.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Inbavijayan, sir. The judges can score through the Google Sheets which was sent prior to the session,
and it will be automatically recorded in our data system. Now, I also request our judges to join through the same link for a validatory function by 5:45. Thank you, Mr. Devan, Ramachandran sir, Bryan sir, and Inbavijayan sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Participants.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you to all staff. Thank you.
Sivaridh, did you say it was the same link for the?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The same.
So
link.
I can just keep this link live then. I could just stay on the link and mute
Yes,
myself just now.
And-
Thank
yes,
you.
sir.
And thank you. I cannot be there for the validatory section because I have a program going on. Would you like me to join in, or would you mind if I?
So we'll be more than happy if you could join.
All right, I'll try. I'll do one thing. I'll keep this link going. I'll just move on to the other meeting and come back to it. All right? Yeah, 5:45. Yeah, thank you.
And participants can view their sessions through the YouTube live, which will be shared by your respective team managers.
I just have a question. Can I ask, it's not really about mediation. I just have a general question. When you're talking about like 5 lakhs, do you know what that is in American, like what that would equal? I was just asking because it sounded to me like 5 lakhs was a lot, given the fact that it was like 10 lakhs per month, the payment, and like only 25 for an entire new system. So I thought that I was taking a lot off, but I don't know if I was now or not.
Jackie, I'll answer that. I thought you had a problem. This is exactly what I was saying.
Yeah.
10 lakhs is a million.
It's a million.
It's a million. So you gave them only half a million from 6 million.
Yeah, I can see how that's a little different. I wasn't sure at all, but no, that is helpful.
What was more interesting for me was that all the participants are called Peter and Simon, James and Clark. The names are all English or American, and then you had Indian rupees.
I know that was all of the scenarios. They were very, very American names, and the currency was not American at all. So we were trying to grasp it, but I really appreciate the clarification.
I wanted to say this when I was speaking, but then I understand your problem. You have that predicament with you. You were not aware what a lakh meant. That's a problem.
Yeah, I literally forgot the name. I was like, oh no, I forgot what their currency is called. But no, I really appreciate your help. Thank you.
I think the sessions observer, can you just,
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, so the link will be live.
The judges.
Sorry, sir.
Can you just ask the participant to just leave the meeting?
Yes. So participants.
10 and 19 clients.
Participants, can you please leave the meeting? You can view the session through YouTube, and the link will be shared by your team managers. Yes, sir. They've left the room.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay, thank you.
What is now proved was only once imagined. Yes, we have been dreaming and imagining a Mother's auspicious day for the last few months, and now we're finally here at the closing ceremony of the first virtual International Mediation Competition 2021, organized by His Highness the Maharajas Government Law College, Ernakulam, in association with Lex Erudites. Respected guests for the evening, teachers, participants, students, a very good evening to all of you. I am Ashwati Vinod, your host for the evening. To begin today's function with the welcome address, I am delighted to welcome an alumnus of our college, distinctive by his name and the accolades he has achieved in myriad competitions during his college days, Advocate Gajendra Singh Raj Purohit, who is also currently a patron of Lex Erudites and a practicing lawyer at the High Court of Kerala. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ashwati. Thank you, everyone. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step, as very rightly said and quoted by a Chinese philosopher, Lao Shuo. Today, we have taken that one step towards the 1,000 miles journey, towards the progress of mediation in our country and overseas. Now, today, I'm very proud and very happy to be back again at the His Highness the Maharajas Government Law College after a couple of years. Not only in the role and in support of Government Law College, but also as an associate of Lex Erudites. This competition was very successfully conducted by His Highness the Maharajas Government Law College, Ernakulam, in association with Lex Erudites. Well, Lex Erudites is an exceptional initiative and an e-journal which is started off by few young minds and exceptional law students. So I think this was a great opportunity for all of us and all the participants throughout the country and the world. Now, let me begin by saying that today it is a historic moment as far as Government Law College Ernakulam is concerned and the Lex Erudites is concerned. Many of them tell me that mediation is a new concept. Mediation is relatively not seen in India. But let me tell you this, that mediation was always there in India. We can trace mediation in the Rig Vedas, that is in 1500 BCs. But I just have to say that mediation was always there, but we lost a track of mediation over a period of time. Maybe in the search of gold, we lost diamonds. That's what all I can say. But today, a fresh start, a new milestone has been set through this competition by introducing mediation among law students and law universities so that we can again revive that concept of an alternative dispute resolution. Today, I would like to tell you all, this was a great competition wherein many teams from various states, from different countries have took part in. And there was a lot of diversity in this competition. We received 36 registrations in this competition, wherein teams from 13 states from all over India had participated and 2 teams had registered from the United Kingdom. And we are also very proud of the fact that we had a very diversified judges and who had took part from various parts of the country as well as various parts of the world. We had 13 judges from all over the country, and we have 17 international judges from abroad, which includes from countries like Ukraine, Bangladesh, China, New Zealand, Japan, UK, US, Turkey, Africa, and Australia, and various other countries. So the adjudicating panel was also diversified. So it is a proud moment for all of us that such a diversified adjudicating panel had come in and put their efforts to adjudicate this competition and to bring this competition at this level. And one of the best things I would like to mention about is the adjudicating panel for the finals. We had a very beautiful panel. We had Professor Dr. Bryan Clark, we had Inbavijayan sir, we had Justice Devan Ramachandran sir. So it was a great moment for all of us. It's a proud moment which we take in. Now, let me get into my official duty for the day, that is of the welcome address. Now, I take this opportunity by making a few things before all of you about Justice Devan Ramachandran sir. Justice Devan Ramachandran sir is one of the most vibrant judges of the High Court of Kerala. Now, the constitutional courts are known for giving remedies and rights of of the citizens, but justice is available in abundance, and justice is omnipresent in the courtroom of Justice Devan Ramachandran sir. We're very, as young lawyers and as young law students, we always say that if you go in the chambers or in the courtroom of Justice Devan Ramachandran sir, we have a lot to learn. Now, when I started off with my practice life 2 years back, we all had heard that if you want to learn things, you can just go in front of the courtroom number 5C, which is that of Devan Ramachandran sir. When we used to go into the courtroom of 5C, where Justice Devan Ramachandran presides, there used to be flock of young lawyers and law students, and the courtroom used to be always crowded. But now that now the flock is not seen at 5C, but now it is seen at 5A, because Justice Devan Ramachandran sir presides in 5A now. Now, there's another interesting thing which is discussed in the courtrooms, is that if you want to improve your vocabulary and if you want to improve your legal acumen, you don't have to read Hindu newspaper, you don't have to read Business Line, but you can just visit the courtroom number 5A, that you will improve your vocabulary as well as legal acumen if you read the judgments of Justice Devan Ramachandran sir. Now, we consider him as our motivation, inspiration, and I'm also proud because of the fact that I come from the same institution as his Lordship Justice Devan Ramachandran went to. We are of the same alumnus, and today coming on this platform representing both lecture rights and Government Law College Ernakulam, I'm very happy about that fact. Let me welcome Justice Devan Ramachandran sir. Welcome, sir. Now, let me take this opportunity to welcome Professor Dr. Bryan Clark, sir. Dr. Bryan Clark, sir, was always the guiding force for this competition. He always motivated us. From the day one of the inception of this competition, Bryan, sir, was always with us. He was actually throwing lights from thousands of miles away from UK to a small state called Kerala and a small place called Cochin, where our college is situated. So he was throwing his lights continuously to make sure that this competition comes out as a grand success. Now, I must say that without Bryan, sir, this task would have been impossible. So I welcome Bryan, sir, to the valedictory function. Welcome, sir. Now I take this opportunity to welcome Inbavijayan, sir. Inbavijayan, sir, had some inconvenience, but he'll be joining us soon. I take this opportunity to welcome him. He is an international mediator, international arbitrator. And one of the experiences which I would like to share about him is I met him at an event which was conducted at His Highness the Maharajas Government Law College Ernakulam by the Academy of N.R. Madhavan Menon, continuing legal education for young lawyers. So he was very humble enough to help the law students at that point in time. And he shared his contact numbers. If you need internships or any kind of help with regard to mediation, you can always approach us. So I thank Inbavijayan, sir, for adjudicating the competition for today. In his absence, I would like to welcome Inbavijayan, sir. Now, I would like to welcome the most vibrant person of our college, our principal, our very own principal, Bindu Nambiar ma'am. Ma'am was very supportive from day one. Without ma'am, it would be impossible for conducting this kind of a competition. When we came up with the idea of international mediation competition, and she was guiding throughout. And I think I don't need to welcome ma'am very specifically, because this is her institution and it is under her guidance we are conducting this competition. This competition is led by our principal, Bindu. Welcome, ma'am. Now I take this opportunity to welcome the face of the institution, a person who has always been the pillar of our college, a person who has always guided us throughout, from day one, throughout all the competitions. And he has always molded us, he has always trained us to come out with our best of our abilities. I take this opportunity to welcome our mentor, our professor, all in all, the pillar of our college, Dr. Now, last but not the least, the driving force of this competition, the coordinator of the competition. And when we had ups and downs in this competition during preparation, this is always our professor, Mayan Abubakar sir, to help us motivate and say, it's all fine, we'll come up, we'll make sure the things go smooth. So I welcome Mayan sir. Now I would like to welcome the volunteers of the competition 2021. Without volunteers, this task would have been impossible. I welcome each and every volunteer and students of Government Law College Ernakulam. And now, last but not the least, the participants who have jointly together made this competition a huge success. I welcome all the participants to this function. Welcome all. Now I think the competition should move on further. We are all eagerly waiting for the results. Over to you, Ashwati. Thank you.
Thank you, Garendra sir. Next, I'd like to welcome Dr. Bindu M. Nambiar, Principal, Government Law College, Ernakulam. Ma'am was keen enough to usher this novel idea of international virtual mediation competition, and her support was constant and uninterrupted throughout the competition. Bindu ma'am was determined to unravel the sacrosanct idea of mediation and shed light into the unexplored corners of alternate dispute resolution through her comprehensive and sophisticated execution plan. The concept of mediation was never new to this prestigious institution. However, with the advent of technology, a new milestone is laid under her guidance by successfully soliciting virtual participation from law students across India and from international universities. From paper to reality, today, though we are at the closing ceremony of this competition, we are starting a new era of international virtual competitions owing to the indispensable support of Bindu ma'am. Ma'am, I welcome you to give the presidential address.
Thank you. Honorable Justice Devan Ramachandran, Professor Dr. Bryan Clark, Sri Inbavijayan Veeraraghavan, Dr. Girishankar, Advocate Gajendra Singh Raj Purohit, colleagues, friends, and my dear students, a very warm good evening to everyone. This is for the first time His Highness Maharajas Government Law College, in association with Lex Erudites, has organized an international mediation competition. Today, we have come to the closing ceremony of our competition. As Gajendra has said, we had 36 teams competing against each other who had participated from different parts of the world. It is not an easy task to organize a competition with this large number of teams. We had 13 national judges and 19 international judges for evaluating the competition. The judges were from different areas like practicing lawyers, judges, mediators, academicians, etc. Thank you all the judges for your valuable evaluation. All teams have performed very well. Congratulations to all of you. Only one team can win. Winning or losing doesn't matter. What matters is that you have performed to the best of your ability. All of you have gained a lot of experience and got directions from the expert panel of judges. This will surely help all of you in your future endeavor. All the very best to each one of you to a bright and successful future. Our institution have always been in the forefront for promoting the alternate dispute resolution mechanism. As part of our syllabus, we are teaching our students alternate dispute resolution mechanism. Our students got the golden opportunity to observe the mediation skills which were shown by our participating teams and from the wealth of knowledge of our distinguished judges. In order to reduce the backlog of our judiciary, alternate dispute resolution mechanism is the best option. Among ADR mechanisms, mediation has gained more acceptance as the parties have more control over the outcome, which in turn reduces further litigation. It will lead to resolving the disputes amicably. I take this opportunity to congratulate our faculty coordinator, Professor Srimain Abubakar, student coordinators, all volunteers and members of Lex Erudites for successfully organizing this international mediation competition. It has been a pleasure to work with these enthusiastic youngsters who all had worked very hard to realize our dream of organizing this international mediation competition. Thanks to the modern technology, we were able to connect teams and judges from different parts of the world. Due to this unprecedented and challenging situation we are facing today due to COVID pandemic, this is the only way for us to organizing this very to realize, hope and pray that next year we will be able to organize this in our college itself. Till then, stay safe. It is really a bad luck that you were not able to come to Kerala, God's own country. I am inviting all of you to Kochi, Queen of Arabian Sea. Thank you. Happy Independence Day. Jai Hind.
Thank you, ma'am, for your encouraging words. Next, it gives me immense pleasure and it is such an honor to invite Honorable Justice Sri Devan Ramachandran, sir. Sir is an alumnus of our college. He started practicing as an advocate in the year 1991. Thereafter, he was designated as a senior advocate by the High Court of Kerala in the year 2015. As a practicing advocate, he has specialized in various modern branches of law, including corporate, company law, and constitutional matters. Thereafter, in 2016, he was appointed as a judge in the Kerala High Court, and we are all aware that Justice Devan Ramachandran, sir, has actively interfered in matters involving social interests and public cause. It is an honor for me to welcome the People's Judge and one of the most vibrant judges of the High Court of Kerala, Honorable Justice Devan Ramachandran, sir, to deliver the valedictory address today. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, and thank you for having me. Principal Bindu Nambiar, Professor Dr. Clark, Advocate Inbavijayan, Giri Shankar. It's been a wonderful experience, and I never knew that there was a program like this after the competition. So I virtually spoke everything that I wanted to speak when the competition was closing. So those who have heard me already, Dr. Clark and Mr. Inbavijayan, I start with apologies. You may have to bear with me again when I say the same thing. Yes, I am an alumnus of the Government Law College, and we are where we are because of the college. This college was always a pioneer, and that is now taken forward by Principal Bindu Nambiar and Giri Shankar. From the way I now look, perhaps Bindu Nambiar would not like to be told you this, that she was just 1 year junior to me. We studied together. She was a year less in class. Her father was a top lawyer. Her brother is a good friend. Giri Shankar has been endearing to me. We have been very closely associated. He has invited me several times to speak at the college as a old student judge. I've been invited to preside over moot courts. But this is the first time ever that I've been asked to preside over an international mediation competition, and that too online. And as I've already said when I was speaking to the participants, and Dr. Clark has heard me this is the very first time I've ever seen a mediation in action. Because for 25 and a half years when I was a counsel, about 8 or 9 months out of it as a senior counsel, I was completely into litigation. I was never interested in mediation from that point of view because we were all litigation-based lawyers. when I joined the the bench in 2016, I noticed that many of our judges were actually relying on the mediation center. We have something called the Ernakulam Mediation Center High Court division at our High Court. And we were referring several matters, all kinds of genres, to the mediation center, particularly civil jurisdiction. And when I was heading the, I was not heading, I'm sorry, I was partnering with Justice Ravindran in the division bench, and then I was in the single bench on civil jurisdiction. Believe me, large majority of cases were able to be settled through mediation. We have a wonderful set of mediators in the High Court, all trained, all very empathetic. But I've never been able to see how they function. I've never seen it. Today was the first time ever in my life that I saw a session actually going on. And what wonderful participants we had. I call them the bright young minds, because one of the parties to the problem was a company called Bright Young Things. So I said, you are all bright young minds to have, and it was a successful mediation, though one of the parties unwittingly gave away more than what she should have done. And that's because she did not know the difference between 1 million and 1 lakh. She gave up 500,000. She gave up 5 lakhs, thinking it's a large figure out of 65 lakhs. So she thought, she did not know. She was from, I think she is not from India, of course. I don't know if she's from UK or from the America, I don't know. She said she was called Jackie, and she gave up 5 lakhs thinking that it was a huge figure. But then eventually the other side lapped it up because the figure that was given up was so small, just a 5 lakh reduction. But then it was really nice to see how the students were thinking, the mediators were functioning. The clients were occupied with their own angles, the lawyers briefing them, and the mediators taking a role that I do a lot in my career as a judge. And I was always saying, in our courts, and I would call Dr. Clark, I would invite him to come and see our courts when it functions. We are all online now. It's possible to see us even on the Zoom. Don't see my court because my court has 150 plus matters every day. I go in a breakneck speed. I'm forced to. I'm disposing of matters at maybe 1.5 minutes. You might think that this is a circus going on, but then we have a method of madness. And one of them is that we do a lot of mediation. Not knowingly, perhaps unwittingly and unknowingly, but I do a lot of mediation. I try to settle matters within the time limits that I get. I try to get lawyers to come to a meeting point, a middle point, and then we get the judgment done. So there's a lot of mediation actually going on, at least in my court. I can speak for my court. And I said, the reason I said was this. I've always believed that litigation leaves a lot of bitterness. Whatever be the judgment that I may deliver, I may think that I've given a judgment which is absolutely fair in the circumstances, but then it leaves some amount of bitterness in one part of the cause. It's possible that they go in appeals and second appeals and to the Supreme Court and all that. But when it comes to mediation, this is the best part of the mediation. Wherever we have settled, we have delivered judgments under mediation. Not because it is statutorily impermissible, they have not been able to go in appeals because they can't go in appeal because they have got what they wanted. So when you get what you wanted, there is nothing, no bitterness left at all. It's a matter of give and take. And they are able to understand that what they've got is exactly what they asked for. But in a court of law, that is not what happens. Sometimes what I give is not what they ask. And sometimes it is the courts are incapacitated from giving what both sides ask. So we will have to now make a balance. But then mediation comes from that principle, the maxim that we have all learned under the Anglo-Saxon principle, in re publicae, art sit finis litium. This is imbibed into section 23 of the Evidence Act, where without prejudice, the parties can speak to each other and enter into contracts, novating the original ones. Now, this is section 23 of the Evidence Act is nothing but mediation because it allows the parties to take a break, a hiatus from the litigation, go outside, speak to each other, come back and tell us without prejudice when we record it and deliver judgment. It's the same thing that happens. So it's in the interest of the state that litigations are settled. Now, it's very, very important for a litigious state like India. We have by far one of the highest rates of litigation ever. And we have the judge population ratio to the lowest. So if you're able to take away at least 10% of the litigation on mediation, which is a large figure, believe me, it's not very easy to comprehend that figure. The system would be that better manageable. Now, we are all desperately trying. I told you, I list about 150 matters. I don't think this is heard of anywhere in the world generally. But then we list it because the numbers are mind-boggling. We would like to control it. So there are limitations to the judicial action when it particularly comes to time-based. This is what we have. I also head bench design arbitrations. And I tell clients who company, I say, when you go to an arbitrator, try the conciliation also. Because the Indian law is called the Arbitration and Conciliation Act, 1996. So I said, it's not merely arbitration. You can try conciliation, see whether of course, the arbitrator cannot be the conciliator, because if he does that, he loses jurisdiction to continue as an arbitrator. I'm aware of that. But sometimes I saw a case, I think 3-4 days ago, where after I nominated an arbitrator, the parties came back to me and said, in the first session, listening to the arbitrator, they decided to conciliate among themselves, and the matter was settled. The poor arbitrator perhaps did not get the fees that he was entitled to under Schedule 5 or 4 of the Act. But then I don't think he was unhappy either. He was a retired judge. He was a man with a great vision and a great perspective. So this is our exposure to mediation. And though I have not seen a formalized mediation system like this, my court goes into mediation every day, at least 50 times a session. So I was really happy to see how the mediators in our session was able to control these litigants and their counsel. As I said, but for the fact that one of the sides gave up too easily, I think we would have seen a very, very hard-fought mediations session, because I think Dr. Clark prepared that the problem, which had vicissitudes to it, large amount of vicissitudes, levels of thought into it. And I would possibly think that next time the students go, at least the student who was Jackie in the program, would understand that lakh is a fraction of a million. She thought a lakh means a million and more. So I'm so glad that I've been able to see this. It's a singular pleasure and honor. And I'm glad that this is happening in my institution. I hold this institution very dear, and congratulations to both Principal Nambiar and Giri Shankar. You have done an excellent job, and commendations to you from the bottom of the annals of my heart. And everybody else, the winners and the losers today, have a very, very great time. This is your experience. As I said when I was speaking to you at the close of the program, you are adding value to yourself by every competition that you enter. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose. Losers possibly get better initiative to do better next time. So I would possibly congratulate the losers today more than the winners. And all the luck to all the participants. It's a great, great feeling that the Maharajas Law College, as we call it, His Highness the Maharajas College, as we call it, has partnered with Lex Erudites to have an international online competition. Before I stop, I would also like to tell you, this has been a great eye-opener, because among judges, we had a doubt whether we will be able to continue with the mediation program at the High Court online. You told me today it's possible. I saw that it is possible. So even if we have the COVID, it cannot bog us down. We still can have the sessions in the High Court, and I will take the initiative of telling my Chief Justice that the initiative of mediation at the High Court and at the District Court levels can still go on the online mode. Thank you for giving me that insight. Thank you very, very much, and have a great evening to all of you.
Thank you very much, sir, for those precious words of encouragement. Now, before we move on with today's event, at this juncture, I would like to speak a couple of words about Mr. Inbavijayan Veeraraghavan, sir, who unfortunately couldn't be with us today in this closing ceremony due to unforeseen emergencies. Mr. Inbavijayan, sir, is an internationally acclaimed mediator and arbitrator and managing partner of Cove Global LLP. He is also a member of the International Center for ADR of the Ministry of Law, Justice and Company Affairs. Moreover, he is also a member of the Indo-German Chamber of Commerce as well as the Indo-Australian Chamber of Commerce. Third, actively contributes to ADR by extensively writing articles in books, providing training courses, and giving lectures on arbitration and ADR in law schools, universities, and various economic forums worldwide. in your absence, sir, I would like to express that it was a pleasure to have you here with us, and thank you so much for joining us as a judge in the final rounds. Moving on, last but definitely not the least, the thriving force of this competition, patron of the International Virtual Mediation Competition 2021, Professor Dr. Bryan Clark. Bryan, sir, is a professor of law and justice and the academic head at the Newcastle Law School at United Kingdom. He was a former professor at the University of Strathclyde, Glasgow. He was a former member of the Scottish Mediation and a former member of the Civil Mediation Council's Academic Committee. He is also a member of the expert group for the Members' Bill of Promoting Mediation in Simple Procedure in the Scottish Parliament. So it is worth mentioning that Bryan, sir, has been the backbone of this competition. He has been the driving force behind the conception of this event and has supported us immensely through his contributions and valuable insights. We're extremely thankful to you for everything you have done towards the successful execution of this competition, sir. With immense pleasure and gratitude, I invite Professor Dr. Bryan Clark, sir, to address this virtual gathering.
Well, thank you very much for saying that there. Believe me, the pleasure has been all mine. It's been just fantastic to be involved in this competition. I think these competitions are incredibly valuable because they give students the chance to come together to meet students from different cultures, different jurisdictions. They get to meet and learn from judges, and we know we've had fantastic judges from different countries, different professional backgrounds, who've given up their time freely to help out in this competition. And they're giving something back, and they're helping the students of tomorrow, you know, the professionals of tomorrow. The law students involved in this competition are going to go out into the professional field, and they're going to be the mediation leaders of tomorrow. And it's just great, I think, for all of us to be part of that journey with you to help you on that way. It was great to hear you, Justice, say there about the continuation of the High Court mediation scheme online. And I think that's fantastic. What we've seen in the last 18 months or so, of course, is this migration of mediation, which is typically in person, of course, to the online environment. And I think many of us were not sure how it was going to work. But actually, it's worked a lot better than we thought it might do. Not just through training and competitions, but also through real live mediations. And I think it's here to stay. It has a number of advantages, even if in-person mediation is different and will be, you know, superior some of the time. But it's, I think, just a wonderful thing that we're moving into. So I'll keep the remainder of this quite brief. I just want to thank everyone who's come together to make this event possible. It's a lot of work, and not everything runs smoothly, of course. But I hope that you all agree it's been an excellent event. I think we've learned things from this year. I really hope that we run these events again. It would be fantastic to run this in person. Equally, at some point in the future, and I would be delighted to visit the area if that was feasible at some point. But it's worked, I think, really well. And although I'm talking today on behalf of Lex Erudites, I just want to thank the team at Lex Erudites for their tireless work, their enthusiasm, their diligence. They've worked incredibly hard in putting this together. And I've been a really small cog in that wheel in terms of making this happen. A lot of people behind the scenes have done a huge amount of work in putting this together. They're a great bunch of people committed to fostering the spread of legal education, not just within India, but across the globe. It's also been wonderful to partner with His Highness, the Maharajas Government Law College. And thank you so much to the President, Bindu Nambiar, and faculty members for their support in bringing this event together. To all the speakers at the inaugural and valedictory sessions. I want to thank also those who put on the training with me, Kathleen and Srinivas. That was good fun to deliver that session. And again, as I've mentioned to all my fellow judges, I was inundated with offers actually when I put the word out, looking for judges to help us out with the competition. There were so many people, really esteemed professionals, who put themselves forward. We ended up with too many actually in the end, at the end of the day. But it was great to see that willingness to help out and be part of learning and teaching our students, our professionals of the future. But finally, I want to thank the teams, and we can't have a competition without teams. And you've all acquitted yourself just so well. You're learning about a very important developing area. Mediation is growing significantly in a range of fields, not just in India, where I think there are enormous strides being made right now, but also across the world. There are global opportunities for you as young lawyers to move into mediation, dispute resolution practice, not just in India, but in many other jurisdictions as well, across different dispute fields, family, employment, commercial, international trade disputes, many different areas. I really enjoyed judging the final. It was great to listen to the feedback from my fellow judges, a real privilege and honor to serve on that panel with Justice Devan and also Inbavijayan, who sadly can't be here today. It was great for me to hear their perspective on the events as well. And the teams both did incredibly well, and they performed very well, and some great advocacy, some great negotiating. And I think throughout this competition, we've seen some fabulous examples of student mediation and negotiation practice, demonstrating poise, nous, creativity, great advocacy, great understanding as to how to get the best possible deal for the clients. Some great bargaining going on in some of those rounds. So well done to all of you who took part. And I hope this represents just a small first step for you in the mediation field. So thank you, all of you. It's been a pleasure for me to be involved. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bryan, sir. And now, the most awaited moment of this evening, the announcement of the final results of IMC-V-2021. I would like to invite Honorable Justice Devan Ramachandran, sir, to please announce the results for us.
So
the results have just been given to me on WhatsApp, so I was just going through that. Before I do that, there's an omission on my part because I was not fully kept aware. I must give credit to Professor Mayin Abubakar, who I'm told was the brain behind the whole show. So, Professor, if you're online, please accept my apologies and my commendation. I don't know, if I disclose the runners-up, the winners are known, or should I just go on with the winners straight away? Before that, it would be nice if I could hear the real names of the participants. May I have that privilege, please? Instead of the James and the Simons and all that, I would like to know your real names, if it's possible.
Hi, my name is Aiden.
You are really Aiden. Okay, all right. So that was a real name that you used. And were you Nidhi?
Yes, sir. I'm Nidhi.
You are Nidhi, is it?
Yes, sir. As mediators, we can use our original name.
Pardon?
As mediators, we can use our original name in the
Okay.
competition. Yes.
What's your your Nidhi? What?
Sorry, my name was James. My real name is Zach.
Your real name is James?
Oh, sorry, Zach.
You're still with your alter ego. What's your real name?
Zach.
Zach. Zach. It's a pleasure knowing you. What about you? That's Jackie. What's Jackie's real name? All right, she's not online.
Jackie is Brienne.
Jackie is?
Brienne.
Brienne, okay. It gives me a lot of pleasure. I'll right away introduce you to the winners. It's the Government Law College, Bombay. It's a team code IMC-V-2021. And the runner-up, of course, is the Hillary Rhoda Clinton School of Law, Swansea University.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
There's also a
Thank you, sir.
A prize for the best mediator. I believe that is not guided by the finals alone. It must be possibly for the entire session. This is Kajal Prasad. I don't know where she's from. That information has not been given to me. Kajal Prasad. Can Gajendra tell me which college is she's from?
Sir, she's from the JSS Law College, sir. JSS Law College from Karnataka.
Okay, that's very nice, very nice. So the team of GLC Mumbai, Khushi Kandalwal, Ashutosh Pandey and Nidhi Thakur, all the very best. And the runners-up, Zachary Hatton, Bryan Mehan and Aiden Risa, all the very best, and may you become the winners next year or the next session, whenever it is. All the very best.
Thank you, Justice.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Justice.
Hearty congratulations to all the winners.
Thank you.
I'd like to invite the winning team for today evening, Government Law College, Mumbai, to speak a few words.
Okay.
Nidhi, you should do this for us.
Okay, if I must, I think firstly I'd like to thank the organizers for ensuring that this process is runs smoothly, and also the principal ma'am for ensuring that this competition takes place, and above everything, all the judges who took out so much valuable time to judge us, give their feedback, and help us out not only in this session but in this competition, or not only in mediation but even otherwise. Thank you so much to all the judges, to all the organizers, and thank you so much, Justice Devan. It's been an honor to mediate in front of you. We hope we get this chance again.
Next time you litigate and as lawyers before my court.
Well,
Yeah, Court number 5, capital A. Please come.
Sure.
Next time as a certified counsel. All right?
Yes, sure.
Thank you, Nidhi. Thank you. Next, I'd like to invite the team from Hillary Rodham Clinton School of Law, Swansea University, to also share a few words with us.
I can start. Sorry, I had to connect in on my phone. But no, it was an incredible experience. Working with some of the international teams is something that you don't normally get to experience a lot. So no, it was an amazing experience and an amazing event, and we hope we can do it again.
I think Zach put it perfectly, and congratulations to the winning team as well.
Congratulations to you also, Aiden.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we're moving on to the final stage, the vote of thanks for today. I'd like to invite Dr. S.S. Girishankar sir, Associate Professor at our college, to deliver the vote of thanks. Before that, I'd like to speak a few words about sir. Girishankar sir is an inseparable part of this institution. And at this juncture, I would like to point out that it was Girishankar sir who assimilated this idea that was shared by Lex Erudites and bridged Lex Erudites to this institution. And he has a major part to play in the conception of this event today. So over to you, sir, to please deliver the vote of thanks for today.
Ashwati, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, all of you, one and all of you. Honorable Justice Devan Ramachandran sir, Professor Dr. Bryan Clerk, Sri Inbavijayan Veeraraghavan sir, who is not with us today, and then with our Honorable Principal, Professor Dr. Bindu Nambiar, Gajendra, and my colleagues, students, the teams which have contested in the finals of this competition, and all of the well-wishers of this institution. It has been one of the finest moments that the institution, our heritage institution of legal learning, which is closing in on 150 years of its inception, maybe in a few years from now, as we were able to play host to an international event, partnering with an ambitious organization, Lex Erudites, which have been newly formed, but which has got that mission and vision to hold for the future. See, for us, for me personally, I was involved with the moot court activities of this institution. And it was a pleasant experience for me to just know the niceties and fineries of mediation, to which I'm also not introduced. And I think we have shied ourselves away from holding mediation competitions or mediation or arbitration conciliation competitions. And that when I realized, when I witnessed the final today, I think that we should have done it earlier, because we never realized that the concept of mediation and this arbitration, mediation, conciliation, that is the ADR techniques, have gained so much ground. As Justice Ramachandran sir had said, we are out and out litigants. So we are used to fretting, fuming, and aggression in courtrooms, aggressively entering in courtrooms, and also living with a considerable fretting and fuming also. And that happens in moot court sessions also. Anyway, this was a pleasant experience where we could enter with a smile, continue with a smile, and leave the room with a smile. The important aspect that Devan sir was telling was give and take. That is very important, particularly in redressal of disputes. See, in that way, I think our institution was fortunate in finding a partner, or rather they found us. In fact, that is the correct statement. Lex Erudites, under the leadership of Akhil, George, and Gajendra, have approached us with this particular concept, and that was presented in the staff council, and that was taken by, it was entrusted to Professor Main Abubekar, who had done everything possible with the help of principal and all our college team, both faculty and students, to conduct this program on this particular scale. But I just lament that, see, had it not been the pandemic situation, just as our principal had stated, see, you could have tasted the hospitality of our institution, which would have remained in your minds evergreen, because that is the history of or that is the profile of our hospitality that we show, or that we display, particularly in almost all the competitions, national competitions that we used to undertake. So anyway, this was a pleasant experience, and this was one of the defining moments of this institution, that we had stepped into an international competitive arena from where we need not look back. We only need to have a forward-looking project. Year after year, I think we can join hands together, and then we can make it happen, so that this will become a seminal a juncture or seminal competition, which will transcend to the universities or institutions of excellence world over. Let me just pass on to my duty of proposing vote of thanks. Our principal who is presiding over this function, I think she is to be recognized and acknowledged first. She in fact is an indomitable figure, and she with her vision has transformed, or rather is attempting to transform the entire the future of this particular institution, because all these institutions, we have to convert ourselves into an institution of excellence, having spent close to 150 years, perhaps one of the oldest of the law colleges of this particular of our country. So we have to shift the gears, and I think this is one of the important moments for us to shift that our perspective, and then we have to scale new heights of excellence, and this is what is being accomplished through organizing this event. So on behalf of our entire institution and on behalf of the organizing committee, it is my pleasure and privilege to thank our principal, Professor Dr. Bindu M. Nambiar, for holding aloft that leadership quality, for leading that institution from the front and making this thing happen, making this incident, seminal incident, or this function, this competition happen, and also looking forward for other editions of this competition. Thank you, Bindu.
Thank you.
We have got an array of persons here as dignitaries to this function. We had, just like the moot court competitions, you find the panel of judges convert themselves as the important persons in the valedictory function. And here, Justice Devan Ramachandran, sir, sir needs no what I just can't thank him in words, because that is the association that we are having with Justice Devan Ramachandran, sir. I think one of the I think no other alumnus judge of the from this institution has frequented to our institution as Devan sir had done, because every time he come out to our institution, then he takes people, or rather he commands excellent audience, because there will be huge takeaway from his conversations. And it's not as usually delivering a speech, it is conversing, because our students need a big brother to inspire them. And that is the role, I think, that is being played by Devan sir. So in every speech, there will be a learning component. Here also, I think he came here as a learner. I think he told that, see, this is an alien thing as far as he is concerned, because he is out and out neck deep in litigational aspects, litigational lawyering. So the fort that is being held, or that's being progressively evolved in the shape of this alternative dispute resolution, I think this is to be reckoned with also. So on behalf of our institution, and also on behalf of the organizing committee of this competition, sir, I thank you profusely for being with us as a judge in the finals, as well as the regular role that you used to adopt in the valedictory addresses or valedictory sessions of our competitions. Thank you, sir, for your valuable presence here. Next, I think we have Professor Dr. Bryan Clerk. See, the moment day one onwards, when Akhil George and Gajendra stepped into, or they called us and they stepped into our institution with this particular proposal, sir, everything revolved around you, because they were telling us that, see, Professor Dr. Bryan Clerk, he is the person who is going to who is the master of the ceremonies. So he is going to guide us all through, and we have got a learning component in the shape of a workshop or a training. Along with that, that is being beautifully integrated with a competitive level mediation. And we have been, I think, conscientiously speaking, we were hearing about you from them, and we were actually doing a profiling of your abilities, merit, leadership, and the teaching capabilities from that day onwards. So I think it was our wonderful association, even though it is a virtual association. As our principal had stated, when these pandemic times are over, we would dearly wish you to be here, so that we need to shift our priorities, and we have to launch in a very significant manner, where we have to launch that the concept wise. The conception part also has to be done. And being a person who has been in this particular field, teaching, practicing, guiding, we are dearly in need of persons like you, sir. So once these tumultuous situations are over, then I think we will be able to meet, and you may be coming over to our institution. So we are looking forward for meeting in person. So for the time being, you have been, everything revolved around you, this competition, every single aspect revolved around you, and you have given us that cutting edge information and idea as to how this is getting evolved and how we cannot shy away from these sort of emerging areas, being a law school. So, sir, on behalf of our institution and on behalf of this organizing committee, I thank you sincerely, profusely, that you are, even though it was a very short stint, you have inspired us a lot, and that will mark as that will be translated into a long-standing association between yourself and also between the institutions, the new university where you are teaching, as well as this wonderful campus of this particular college. Thank you, sir. So we have got, we had Sri Inbavijayan Veeraraghavan sir, who is a practitioner. That's a beautiful blend of this panel, or rather the whole panel, I think, because there is a practitioner in mediation, there is an academic, and there is a person who is in the litigational field, isn't it? So naturally, I think he had always been he had already been already associated with our institution earlier itself. Gajendra was pointing out to that. One of the endeavors with Professor Dr. N.R. Madhumenon, another great visionary. In fact, he had done certain training programs here in our college also, when Gajendra in fact points out that he was part of that particular transactional team. And he has given very valid comments also. I think he never minced the words when he evaluated the performance. These are the takeaways and some beautiful concepts or beautiful aspects that this team was able to transact between each other. And there's those areas which they have to still improve. I think that was put across by sir, because he's a practitioner. He is in fact knowing as to what are the deliverables as far as the mediation is concerned. So I thank him in his absence on behalf of this institution, as well as on behalf of the organizing committee. I thank Sri Inbavijayan Veeraraghavan for his presence here amidst his busy schedule. I should thank Gajendra, and then I should thank one person also, Akhil George. I think these two persons, we cannot see them separately, even while they were prosecuting their studies here, because talking to Gajendra and Akhil was always a refreshing experience, and their ability to apply themselves was one particular feature that made them stand apart from their peer. Because we as teachers have to make certain evaluation, and also the peer evaluation was also there. So they were involved in Mooting Fest, and from there they slowly shifted that planks, and they went into trial advocacy mediation, where they made a niche for themselves, not only for themselves, but for this institution also. They became national winners in trial advocacy in some of the competitions. They went close to winning in some other competitions. And I think they were involved in this mediation competition also. And Gajendra, I think, was having a cutting edge knowledge in the management field also. So I think that was one of the important contributions, that he could engage profitably to be successful, not only in mooting, but also in mediation, some other thing, because you need that blessed tongue for that. I think so. At both they were their capability level, their application level, and their ability to take things forward. I think these are all certain seminal aspects, certain distinguishing features that makes them stand apart from their peer. So thank you, Akhil and Gajendra. I think you can shift to a different position from where you can don the role of trainers for our budding students, so that whatever experience that you have amassed, whatever experience that you are currently having, and that you aim to get, I think that should be transmitted to others. Just like Devan sir. Devan sir is an alumnus of this institution. Whenever he steps back to our institution, it is the plowing back of the alumni strength. And your strength should also should reach back, because that reverse integration is essential as far as to scale up the excellence of an institution. So now that you are in the prime of your youth, your exuberance, your excitement should radiate into our students, so that they can also dream of certain things and they can accomplish their dreams. So Akhil and Gajendra, I don't have any words to thank, because this is first time we are extending our hand with an organization, and then stepping over or crossing the seas, where international teams start to come to us, so that we can play host to such sort of international competition, which are competitions totally of a different scale. So thank you for giving that opportunity. Thank you for being part and parcel of this, and let us look forward for continual association. And please keep it in mind about what I have stated, what I have said, that you just give us something back, which will always will enrich your experience or your value also. Then I should think, because that it is in the order of thanks, I have to draw the curtains close. So before that, I need to express the gratitude of this institution to a bunch of persons. Let me come back to Professor Mahin Abubekar. I think once the idea was mooted, once this idea was translated that this was going to happen amidst all these situations, because being a college, government college, many of us know that we have got certain limitations, particularly with regard to the technical aspects, etc. But we were able to scale up that. We were able to cope up with the challenges. And I think the person who did the entire job, or the person who remained as a colossus, where he could do everything without any noise, without any sound. That is the typical feature of Professor Mine, where we don't find any loud voices or noises, but he can simply do things with astounding quality. So it was indeed putting things together by Professor Mine Abubakar, which had really did the job for us. So because we are partnering with institutions, we are partnering with other organizations, that beautiful blend, that symphony was created and that synergy was created. We are extremely having that pride. With pride, let me thank Professor Mine Abubakar for being the backbone of the conduct of this competition. And also that in his hands it is very safe, so that the next editions of the competition will also happen. And he is the convener, or he is the faculty coordinator of the ADR cell of this institution. So he is the person who is in charge of these affairs. Thank you, Mine. We have got student coordinators, Paul, Ashwati, Vinod, very much here with us, Nandini, Praveen, all of them have got, many of them are acclaimed mooters. And many of them are even have intercepted by giving public interest litigation in Supreme Court. For the information of Devan sir, that Nandini Praveen has intervened in Supreme Court, particularly in the matter of, I think I just can't spot out as to in which subject, but again, that is numbered and that is being heard, I think. And so all the coordinators who had got that vision, then the volunteers of the Government Law College of our Ernakulam, that is social media, of the committees, various committees, of social media outreach committee, invitations and PR team, tech team, team managers committee. See, profuse thanks on behalf of this institution, and you are part and parcel of this institution. I should also thank two persons who have led the training. That is Kathleen Rowan Leedy, who is a bicoastal civil mediator trainer, author of the International Law School judge, coach, etc. And Srinivas K, head of the department of Maharajas Batteries Limited, who had extended the learning component in the matter of mediation, because that was an unparalleled session, because we never can dream of such sort of situation here in our institution. And this was one of the huge takeaway for us in this particular competition. And our partner organization, Lex Erudites, I think the coordinators as Shivadat Madhu, Menon and Arun Vaidyanath, and team comprising of Atmaja Menon, Amrita Navada, David Varghese Thomas, Ellen Maria, and Mrinal Rajendran. You did a wonderful job, because you never felt, you never allowed us to feel the heat of the conduct of the competition, because you took so much pressure from us and you led on par with us. So we were in fact moving together. That togetherness and camaraderie between institutions, you made us reflect that. So thank you on behalf of the organizing committee as well as our institution. We are profusely thankful to persons who have given the prize money. I think S.Sri Kumar Associates, Dendapani Associates, Advocate KMC Kurup, and then Advocate P.N. Balagopal, Advocate Jairam, Advocate K.R. Giri Iyer, T.P. Varghese Associates, and Menon and Pai, where they extended us crucial help, critical help, particularly in the matter of managing the prize money. And many of those persons are alumni of this institution as well. So that is also very important. So I profusely thank each one of them for coming in help for us. And then we have got our knowledge partners in Helion Knowledge Ventures. Thank you for being a fit and proper team of a knowledge partner. You have reflected that. We had 36 teams, as our principal stated, Gajendra has stated, and the finals, again, 2 persons came in finals, 2 teams came in finals. Totally 19 international judges and 13 national judges. Yes, that is really an impressive cross-section of evaluation panel, isn't it? The merit of that evaluation panel, the scale of that evaluation panel. I thank, on behalf of our institution and organizing committee, each and every one of the persons in the judging panel. which includes practicing lawyers, academicians, mediators, etc. And before I part with this, or rather before I close my duty, or rather I should thank the entire teaching staff of this institution, my colleagues who have been part and parcel of this competition and organizing this competition, the non-teaching staff, and all other persons, well-wishers who have contributed in differential scales for the success of this competition. I congratulate the winners, and I congratulate the runners-up also. As it has been stated, better luck next time. But once this situation is over, please make it a point to visit to our institution, that you will be experiencing a totally different level of association with us. Okay, so I think I have not left out any person. So when curtains are drawn to this international venture, a seminal international venture amidst trying times, I think every single person who have been associated with this organizing of this competition should congratulate oneself as well as others, that we were able to put things together from different corners, remote corners of the world, and we were able to make certain tangible results out of this competition, and we have got huge takeaways which will prompt us, which will be feeding us, which will be a feeder to our vision. Not only vision, but also dream that next year we can continue this, repeat it on a much more larger scale, and then this will come to stay as one of the formidable competition wherein the mediation, the merit of mediation will be tested at different levels. So that's all from me. I think I have not left out. If I have left out in any person, then please forgive me. Anyway, that's all from this institution. That's part of this competition. Thank you all, and over to Ashwati.
Thank you so much, sir. That's all for today. With this, we come to an end to today's function. Thank you so much for being here. And also thank you to all our viewers, all the participants, every one of you who have joined us today here. Your presence has made the function so much more beautiful for us. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Congratulations, winners.
Yeah, thank you all. Thanks all for helping out with this competition. It's been fantastic, and hope to see you soon and visit your part of the world. That would be fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.